made those decisions. There's no mistake there. I know what I did, but I failed. The only thing I can do is, I don't want to argue, but I'm just trying to tell you that it's like being in a car accident. You don't know what's going on. I mean, this is going to be it for me. You know what I mean? That's how I look at it. I'm 100% at fault. I'm her father. And I was there. Talk to you besides a family member. Sometimes you can't talk to your family about certain things.
Mr. Nelson, if you keep interrupting, we cannot ask the questions that we need to. No, stop.
However, that behavior that caused my child to be taken away from me and almost died.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, I sorely regret today, but I didn't hear any of that.
I said that in the beginning. Can I read you want me to read the beginning over?
I'll give you a trigger warning on this. If you're in an agitated mood, don't watch this parole hearing because it's going to grind your gears. This is one of the most insufferable parole hearings that I've seen in quite some time. And I mean, this man just completely lacks insight. It's how he's up for parole even now is, well, we're used to that, but it's still shocking. I'll unpack with the details.
I'm going to have Nelson sit first.
Do you have a preference? Because I can.
Hello. Good morning. Arnold C. Nelson Jr., 268811.
This hearing is being conducted in consideration of the parole application for Arnold Nelson, inmate number 268811. He's serving a sentence of 5 years jail flat sentence for risk of injury to a child, criminal mischief third, failure to appear second, possession of a controlled substance, assault third, failure to appear second, and violation of probation with underlying offense larceny 6. As of today, records reflected parole eligibility date of June 13th, 2024. There is victim input in this case. There is an offender accountability plan for the offender. It has been reviewed and shows the offender has completed the following programs. He has completed Tier 2, Good Intentions, Bad Choices, Voices, and the Fatherhood Program. Utilizing the statewide collaborative offender risk evaluation system, the offender's overall score on the SRT falls within the very high range of risk for recidivism. This is your opportunity to express to the board why you believe you should be granted parole. You may begin.
Good morning, everyone. First and foremost, I just want to thank God. I sit in front of you today, a humble man, a father that failed at being a father. The carelessness that I showed and the selfish things that I indulged in has put me here today. My failure to her has been the biggest and hardest punishment of all. I was supposed to protect, and I wasn't supposed to put my daughter in harm's way by my drug use and my bad decisions. This has torn my family apart. This was so eye-opening. I knew I had to change. This has been the longest incarceration by far, so I went to work on myself. I was broken, but God gave me the strength to never ever be this ugly father, brother, spouse, son, and grandson again. Progress is about ups and downs and taking in every moment. To fill my time, I did as many programs as I possibly could get into. I worked, I got into building trades, I established a routine, I put up boundaries, and I didn't engage in any negativity. I took a long, hard look at myself, and at my age, being a 42-year-old man in prison, not really have paid much into Social Security, how will I live? I need to put in the next 20, 25 years of work. I don't want to have these problems when I get older. I'm not getting any younger. I have a strong and a wonderful support system, a great home with a job to go home to, but they're not getting any younger either. I wish I thought of all this before, but it just took me longer. I know now I have to stay on my mental health medication. That's very important for me. That's number one. For me, I am also going to get on the Subutex for any cravings, and I will have a great network of clean, sober, and family. I also have a great hobby that I love to do with my father. We go up to the elephant trunk in New Milford. We go out on the weekends, and I was doing this with him when we were out there, but I wasn't obviously in the right state of mind. But now, we've been talking on the phone about it all the time, and there's a nice I don't know if anybody's ever heard of the elephant trunk in New Milford, but it's on Route 7 up there. So we go out and we do all the tag sales on the weekends, get up early, hit all the tag sales, try to buy smart and go up there. And my father's a vendor up there, and, just spend the whole day up there. This is a good hobby that, I'm interested in, and, you can make money while doing it, so. We also do plowing in the winter. I just want to spend a lot of time with my family. I just want to get on my feet, get a routine. I feel like parole would be a great thing for me because I don't have probation at the end. And I just want to be accountable to somebody while I'm out there. So somebody else to be accountable. And the last thing, I just wrote down, I don't even know why I wrote it, but I just put, for one thing, for one stupid thing in your life, you lose everything. But if you give up that one thing, you can have everything. I don't know why I wrote it. I just wrote it down. Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, thank you, Mr. Nelson. We appreciate your writing up a statement for us today. I think it's important to come prepared. We're going to be asking you some questions, and
Yes,
then
ma'am.
we'll have input from victim services at the
Okay.
very end. Okay,
Okay.
and then we'll give you our decision at the end of today's hearing.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Chance will begin with the questions this morning.
So, Mr. Nelson, I appreciate the comments that you made.
Thank you. Thank
Your
you.
opening statement. So what I want to ask you is, you spoke primarily of taking care of yourself, but the behavior that brought you here today,
Yes,
how
ma'am.
have you improved on that behavior? Because I didn't hear it in your opening statement.
Well, I took classes. I took as many classes as I could get into. And, like I said, I stayed to myself. I just focused on, the knowledge and the tools that they gave me in the classes. Like I said, to set boundaries for myself when I get out there. If I could set them in here and stay out of the negativity in here, I feel like when I get out there, having a good support system.
So let me stop you there a minute, Mr. Nelson.
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
at the time of the offense, your delay in admitting to what happened with your 2-year-old daughter, okay? And yeah, because you were saying you were sleeping and saying all kinds of stuff that wasn't making sense to the paramedics. I'm telling you what I read.
No, I understand what you're saying. Yes.
Okay. So what was going on with you? What was the behavior that you were displaying then?
I mean, what I was displaying then, to be honest, sure, I'm not trying to I'm 100% at fault. I'm her father, and I was there. I should have watched over my daughter. But at the time of the offense, I just wanted to, when I put it on the record with Menard, I was sleeping in the bed when I woke up to this, but it doesn't put any of the blame off of me. The blame is on me. I understand. And then when I woke up and I called 911, I had no clue what I'm going to be honest with you. I had no clue what she took. I knew it was drugs, but I just didn't know what she took. Yes, ma'am.
You were sleeping.
Yes.
Your partner was in the bathroom.
In the bathroom. Yep.
And you had a 2-year-old child that you should have been responsible for.
Absolutely.
That probably should never have been there.
Absolutely.
So I would have preferred you to say, I was a negligent father, I was using drugs, blah, blah, blah. However, that behavior that caused my child to be taken away from me and almost died.
Yes, ma'am.
I sorely regret today, but I didn't hear any of that.
I said that in the beginning. Can I read you want me to read the beginning over?
You talked about fear that caused you to be here today and about.
No, I said my selfishness things that I've indulged in has put me here today, meaning drugs I've indulged in.
But that's what you need to say.
Huh?
Because nobody knows what you mean by selfishness. So that's what I
Myself-
mean. You have
My
to be
selfishness is
clear.
my drug. My selfishness is my drug.
But
I mean, I know
you
you guys
didn't
know the game.
Right, but you
All right,
you
well,
need to
I'm not
say,
trying, I don't want to argue, but I'm just trying to tell you that when I say I indulged in drugs. I know you guys know the case. So I'm not trying to be funny. I know you guys know it. So I know when you say I indulged in, you know, drugs, and I said drug use. And I know when I say my selfishness, my carelessness is meaning I didn't take care of my daughter, period. I know that. I said I failed as a father. I mean, I said it in here. What else can I say? I know what I did. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to take the blame. I never said, oh, I made a mistake. It's not a mistake. I made the decision to do that, and I failed. I made those decisions. There's no mistake there. I know what I did, but I failed. The only thing I can do is
mistake. I said you referred to it as a bad decision. Because I wrote down what you said. However, okay. So you took tier 2, you completed it August 5th, 2022. And then you received 2 DRs. You received one December 20th, 22, an intox ticket. And
Yes,
on
ma'am.
March 23rd, 2023, you received
yeah,
another one.
the
So
second
what
intox.
happened?
I'm gonna let you know. The first one, oh, I definitely, I used on the first one, definitely. But on the second one, I gave Menard the paperwork to give to you guys because I came here and I got on methadone. I told them that I was dirty for Suboxone. I should have never been tested for that. The next day, when they came to the they gave me the another swab for the methadone, because when you're on methadone, they have 2 different people that test you. They have the jail, then the methadone people swab you. They came and they swabbed me. I was negative. I gave him the paperwork. I don't know why he didn't get. He should have gave you guys the paperwork. But anyways, it doesn't matter. I take accountability. Absolutely, I used. I did, but I came here. I got on methadone. I got on my medication because I wasn't on my medication at the time when I was in Cheshire. And I know I need that. That's number one. If I'm not on the right medication, I cannot make the right decisions. I know that now. So I came here. I got on the right mental health, and I've never had a problem since. It's been about, what's that, almost 18 months. I've never had not one issue since I got on. So I know that's number one for me. And that's why I said when I come home, I didn't want to be on methadone, so I detoxed myself off methadone here, which was the hardest thing I ever did in my life. I've never done that. I detoxed myself off methadone. And when I came off, my father, he doesn't want me going to the clinic. We don't want to go to an area where we know, because sometimes the clinics, they're not in great areas. We all know that. I don't want to put myself in any harm's way. So I want to go to a private doctor, like I said, and get on something when I get out. So this way, it prevents my cravings. To have a private doctor in morning.
Nelson, you shouldn't be listening to your dad. You're 42 years old.
Oh, I
You
don't have
should
to
be
get
able
there.
to make
Okay,
your own
I'm sorry,
decisions,
Ms.
okay?
Mr. Nelson,
Yes,
if
ma'am.
you keep interrupting, we cannot ask
Okay,
the questions that we need to, no, stop. That we need to ask in order to make a decision at the end. Ms. Chance gets halfway through her question and you interrupt her. So let
Yes,
her
ma'am.
finish and then you will be able to respond. Thank you. Sorry, Ms. Chance.
That's all right. I'm all set, Madam Chair.
Thank you. So, Mr. Nelson, I just want to follow up because I think what concerns us to a great deal, obviously, is the charges that involve your daughter. We didn't even talk about all the other charges. But then, your issues for all these years has been substance abuse.
absolutely.
Right. So you go into the facility and you tell us, you detoxed. And then Ms. Chance asks you about the positive ticket you got for Suboxone.
Yeah.
And instead of explaining why you're positive for Suboxone, you say, well, I was going on methadone. But I think what we want to go back to is you finish the drug program and then you have 2 intox tickets.
Yes, ma'am.
When somebody finishes a drug program, the expectation is that you've developed those tools to practice living sober in the facility before you come out into the community. So for me, that is a tremendous concern.
Absolutely. I understand what you're saying. Yes.
And we do recognize that ticket was in March 2023. However, our concerns remains is that you had a drug program and then you have these 2 intox tickets following that while you're in custody. The other thing I want to point out is that you have been on community supervision 8 times. You've been unable to finish community supervision 8 times. So you have a number of violations, whether they're probation, community release, parole. We won't go through each one of them. And now you're telling us that you want parole so you'll have support in the community. What kind of support are you hoping for from parole?
I feel like at my age and what I went through, I'm going to get to your questions. I'm leading up to it. I feel like at my age, coming in at 38, and I'm almost 43 years old, I just have something that clicked this time. I just know that if I don't do it now, this is going to be a lifelong thing for me. And I'm scared. I don't want that. And I just want to have somebody else, because when I go home, I don't have probation. So I just feel like having somebody to be accountable to, I just feel like that's going to be a better thing for me. If not, I'm going to have to finish my sentence regardless. I'm here. I'm going to finish it regardless, but I just feel like it's going to be in the long run, I feel like it's going to be a better thing for me to have somebody there to talk to. If I need something and I can't, just say something happened, which I don't want to say that, but things are 100% in the world. You know what I mean? I could reach out and have somebody there to say, hey, you know what? I think I might need to go to a program. I think I might need to do this if that was the case. Have somebody to talk to besides a family member. Sometimes you can't talk to your family about certain things, and you can talk to a parole officer. That's.
Yeah. What
that's
other
how I feel.
support? What other resources do you think are available to you in the community?
Well, in Wallingford, I was a part of New Life Church. I don't know if you ever heard of New Life. They also have CR, which is called Celebrate Recovery. And I loved it at that church. I haven't been in a long time, I'm gonna be honest, but I really liked it there. And they have breakfast in the morning when you go. They have music, but they also do the Celebrate Recovery, and it's a little different. The AA meetings and NA meetings where I'm from, not everybody's there for the same reasons. I feel like that's more of a solid place for me. So,
okay, but it's important to find a recovery avenue that's recovery is personal, right?
Yeah,
That's
I
all
just get scared like when it comes to that, because I know when you go out, not everybody's at the same level, and like this time, I just don't have any room for error at this time. This is going to be it for me. You know what I mean? That's how I look at it. This is life or death. Like me and my father, we talk all the time, and he's just like, we both know, I've seen it. My uncles have done it. I'm just being real. I'm being true. You know what I mean? It comes from my heart. I know what this is. I know what this is for me right now.
So why did you relapse after completing the Tier 2 program?
You talking about the first intox ticket?
Both of them.
All right. Well, the first one I know that I wasn't sentenced, and I'm not making excuses. It comes down to, I know that I wanted to get high at the time. I know that. I'm not going to lie. But I also had a lot of things going on. I wasn't sentenced. I was sitting in Cheshire. I was there for a very long time. This case was, the case. It's crazy. It got to me. And it happened. I can't deny it. It happened. There's really not much I could say about that. That's why I know when I go home, I need to be on something, and I wasn't on my mental health meds in Cheshire. And I know that's a big thing too, because when I'm on my mental health meds, it shows that since I've been here, I've never had a problem. Since I've got on them, I was on my mental health meds in June of last year. Nothing has happened since then. Nothing.
Well, I see that as a positive, a step in the right direction for you then, recognizing,
absolutely.
What your needs are and what's important in terms of your recovery. Well, Appreciate you answering my questions, Mr. Nelson. I'm happy to see that you have support from your family and the community. Mr. Rodriguez?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, Mr. Nelson, my concern really, and it's still, I want to stay along with the drug thing, right? With your drug.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
What I don't see from you is kind of a plan when you come out. Like, I got an advanced plan. I see you counting on doing things when you get out, but I don't see you saying, you know what, I've set up this particular treatment, or I've set up this particular sponsor, or I've gotten a C car, and I'm going to be moving into a recovery thing. Like, I'm not hearing that from you.
Yeah.
And that really concerns me, because you've already shared how significant this problem is for you, right? You're in a confined setting. You're in a setting that's already structured to the max, and you still couldn't, you still can prevent yourself from that. So, my concern obviously is public safety, but it's also what's going to be the best thing for you to be able to be successful when you come out, because that's what we want. We want you to be successful when you come out, right? And I'm not hearing that. And that really concerns me.
Okay.
That's not set up. And for me, I feel like you need a little bit more time to kind of work on setting those pieces up for you. You've got some family support, which I think is a very positive thing that you share with my colleagues. And that's a really positive thing. But that's not really having the recovery network that you kind of need, because all of your issues center around some sort of substance abuse issue, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's I want you to understand, that's my challenge in this particular situation, that I'm not hearing that. I don't think it's there. I don't think you have that plan available to you. You have thoughts of what you want to do and what you want to get out, and you see the value, I think, of being out, having some sort of supervision outside. But I don't hear you say, you know what, I've connected with this, I've connected with C-CAR, I've connected with these programs now. So I know when I get out, I can go to this particular program and kind of get set up. I'm not hearing that. And that, I'm going to be honest with you, that concerns me. I'm feeling like you're not quite there yet. You're making a move, you're doing kind of better things, you're kind of accepting some responsibility for what you've done and what's happened, but you're not there in terms of preparing yourself for more success on the outside. So I don't really have any questions. I don't really have any questions. I just,
I understand exactly what you're saying. I know where it's going anyways. I understand. It's I mean, there's nothing I guess there's nothing I can say, because I don't know what else I could possibly, when you come out of prison, I look at it, I don't have a license, so, and I live in Wallingford. So it's limited. I know like I said, I'm going to get out some boxing. That's in my area. What else? I mean, I don't know what I could do from here. I don't know what I could set up from here. I've never done any of that from here. So I don't know. That's why I thought parole, when I get out there, they have this, you guys have stipulations, and then I would follow them. That's just what I was thinking, sir. So I didn't understand that.
I hear you, and I appreciate your response, but now you've heard my concern. Okay. Good luck to you, Mr. Nelson.
Mr. Nelson, I just want to circle back. What do you think your role is in the risk of injury charge? Because I read your response to the parole. Say that again.
I'm the number one. I'm the father. Like I said, I'm supposed to be there to protect her. I was there no matter what the situation was. I just gave you the view of the situation that happened. That doesn't eliminate anything that I've done. That doesn't. I was there. I did it. You know what I mean? But I'm not going to tell you something that wasn't true. This, that's what happened. That was the situation. I did the best I could do. And thank God that, everything worked out. That's all I could say. I'm not, everybody thinks I'm trying to downplay my role, and I'm not trying to downplay my role. I'm just giving you the facts of what happened. That's all I could do. I don't know what else I could say. I can only tell you the truth.
Okay.
Nothing else.
Yeah, and we want the truth. I'm looking at your interview with the parole officer, and you said that my daughter was sick, and my girlfriend woke up. Yeah, and she was going in and out. It was a rough situation. My wife was up with her. So I take from that you were not aware of what was going on.
I was aware when she woke up with the baby in her hands and handed me the baby. That's when I was aware. That's when I woke up. When she woke me up and said, Ava's sick, I said, well, give me the phone. Let me call 911. Obviously, she must have ingested some drugs. I mean, that was number one. I knew that. But my wife, she was out of it. She wasn't telling me anything. She wasn't giving me any information because she was so frantic that she was just running around just like, yeah, like I didn't know what to, so of course I called 911. I felt like I did the right thing. I've never had that situation has never happened to me before. I'm not in those type of situations. That was the biggest thing that was the biggest thing that have ever happened to me in my life. That's stuff that happens in the movies to me.
Sure.
And
And
that
then
doesn't happen to me.
I guess probably what I think it is important. You did do the right thing. You called 911. I think what is also concerning, and I feel like you're not really, maybe you just don't want to say it out loud, is when the paramedics were there and they're trying to get to the bottom of what it could be. You and, the child's mother just kept saying, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know, when you kind of knew. You knew.
Well, I mean, I told that I did say when I called, I did say that I know that she took some type of drug, but I didn't know what she took because my wife wasn't answering me. She wasn't telling me. There was nothing that, I didn't. When you wake up in a situation like that, you've never been in that situation. I've never been in. But when I woke up, when I got up to that situation, and she had my daughter in her hands, holding my daughter like that, I didn't. It's like being in a car accident. You don't know what's going on. The room is spinning. You know what I mean? It's like your adrenaline kicks in and it's like euphoric. You don't understand. I didn't just give me the phone. Let me call 911 because I know that I need to do this. That's the right thing. And that's all I could possibly do.
Okay.
I was in a state of shock. I was in shock. I mean,
I think that the paramedics and the police would see things a little bit differently because their view was that you and the child's mother didn't want to come out and say what you thought she had ingested. And there's an indication that, you were going around the room trying to pick up what would be
I never moved. I never moved on that video. Never moved. I stood right there by the police. They're not going to let you walk around and pick up stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So, okay. Do you think we've covered everything?
I think you have.
Okay. So as I told you earlier, in today's hearing, we have input from victim services.
Yep.
So we're going to have them speak now.
Okay.
You listen, but we ask that you not interrupt.
Okay.
Thank you. Ms. Vasquez?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, board members. After speaking with the victim yesterday, she wishes for me to share just the following. We would like for the protective order to be reiterated to Mr. Nelson, should he get out on parole. That's all that I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Another thing, can I just add one thing?
Okay.
Real quick? All right, thank you. I appreciate that. Up until, when I came in, I obviously came in before Nicole. And when I came in, I had visits every month from my daughter until I got sentenced, and it was immediately when Nicole came in, they put a protective order on her. So they gave me visits for 18 months with my daughter, almost 18 months before I got sentenced. And then all of a sudden just took her right from me again, which I understand. And I understand these laws are in effect. And I appreciate these laws. I told the judge, Ms. Keegan, I appreciate these laws. They should be in effect. But you know how bad that hurt when they did that? It's like I just feel like, you led me on. You just, every month my daughter's popping up on the screen. And then all of a sudden they just take her from me. I don't understand what was the necessary for that,
Okay, so, Mr. Thank you for that additional information. We did have information that you did have some visitation prior to sentencing. Mr. Rodriguez, did you have an additional question?
No, I did not.
Okay, so there is a protective order in effect until 2099.
Nope.
Okay. All right, Mr. Nelson, we are done with the question portion and now we'll deliberate and give you our answer in just a few moments. Ms. Chan?
No.
So first, I'm gonna say why I did not continue with my questions because it's obvious that Mr. Nelson did not want to hear anything from me. So, because
Mr.
you
Nelson?
cannot say anything.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
But because I want to be fair to him, I allowed both of you to ask him the questions. Okay? I noticed there was a big change in him when I asked him versus both of you, because same thing I did. Some of them were what I asked him, and the other pieces he never allowed me to continue with my questions. So, because I wanted him to have his fair hearing today, I turned it over to both of you. Having said that, in his opening comments, he admitted to fear that he said caused him to be here today and that it was a bad decision. Okay? I listened. He says it's in his long incarceration. He was broken when he went in, but he's participated in positive programs. He also admitted that he was not on his meds and was not making good decisions. So I appreciated all of that. When I did go to talk with him about completing the Tier 2 program on August 5th, 2022, and then shortly after that, he received his first NTOX ticket. I did listen to his reasons, and I appreciate his honesty. He said he was not sentenced, he wanted to get high, and he was not on meds. And so he was being very honest. And I think that part was good for him. However, when I tried to question him about the second intox tickets, and he kept interrupting, saying that he was on methadone and that kind of thing. It's the constant interruption that I didn't think would have allowed me to pursue my questions. So, having said all of that, my summary is my concerns are for Mr. Nelson. His entire criminal history is clouded with substance abuse, and he indicated that because he was not on his meds. But again, that part for me was his responsibility. I don't think at the time when he was using that he was making clear decisions. He just kept on using drugs and forgot about the mental health piece. So that for me was of concern. The other pieces, I hear him asking for parole today. He was given 8 previous opportunities to be in treatments. He was actually referred to a treatment program, but did not finish. And it's concerning. I understand that, when addiction takes someone, that, everything else goes out of their mind. And until that light bulb goes off for him, he's just gonna follow that substance abuse route. The other thing is, when the parole officer interviewed him, he told him that he changed 100% after completing programs. I don't think that was quite true because of the intox ticket. So I do feel that, Mr. Nelson need to spend some more time on himself. One of the other concerning matters is, he was expressing that his father didn't want him to go to a particular program, but at age 42, he has to decide what's going to work for him because it's only he and he alone that can make those types of personal decisions. So I feel like he's now being very dependent on others. I do appreciate the fact that he is going to connect with that Celebrate Recovery group at that church, and that he did indicate that he wants to see a therapist and obtain a sponsor. All of that is very positive for him. But for me today, Madam Chair, I cannot grant a discretionary parole for Mr. Nelson today. And that is just based on the nature and circumstances of the offense and his poor institutional adjustment and his inadequate evidence of standard change.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Rodriguez.
Well, I would concur with most of the comments made by my colleague. Not a whole lot to say. I shared my concern early on that although I do believe that he's really kind of making a turn now in a very positive direction, that the planning piece for me just doesn't seem to be there. And I think he needs more time to be able to pull that together to be more successful, especially in light of the fact that he had 8 other releases and was not successful in those. And I don't know how much planning he did on those when he was getting ready to come out. So there you go. So my
It was a long time ago, though. So I mean, it was years ago. I'm just letting you know that was a long time ago.
My major concern again is the fact that it's not, the plan is not there for me to really for him to be more successful on the outside, and that's kind of where I'm at. So I'm in denial today as well, and hope that he really takes the time that he has left to really plan that piece out for himself, that transitional piece of coming back out into the community. It's got some good thoughts, but I think it needs to have more things concretely in place.
Thank you. So I agree with everything that's been said. I think we all share the same concerns. We sort of focused in on, the risk of injury charge today and his behavior during that and what he's done since then in terms of what we look at to be offender change and programs that he's taken to assist him in making some changes. I think what is always concerning is somebody with this, where their whole criminal history is part of their substance abuse, or is indicative, it's due to their substance use that they do a program and then they continue, then they have the tickets while they're in the facility. I think that Mr. Nelson wants to change. I think he's got some plans for when he's in the community. I appreciate that his hope is that parole will provide him some stability and resources in the community. Although when I look at Mr. Nelson's history of treatment, he certainly knows he's done a lot of treatment. 1, 2, 3, there's probably 4 programs noted here, and I'm sure there were others in between. So he knows how to get treatment. He knows what he needs to be doing to remain sober. I have some concerns. Mr. Nelson at times presented himself as the victim in this. And I will note he had a number of other charges that included failure to appears, and his violation of probation with the underlying larceny 6, he was a persistent offender on. So although I do think that Mr. Nelson is going in the right direction, I agree with Ms. Chance in that he needs some more time, and as Mr. Rodriguez pointed out, to work out his transition plan. So I'm also not in favor of his release today. Nature and circumstances of his current offense, thank you. Criminal history I have, and poor institutional adjustment, and you said inadequate evidence of offender change. Okay, that's where he needs. That is exactly where he needs more work. And there's definitely programs available to help him with that. So in the matter of Arnold Carl Nelson Jr., 268811, there's a motion to deny parole for the following reasons: nature and circumstances of the current offense, criminal history, poor institutional adjustment, and inadequate evidence of offender change. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. All right, Mr. Nelson, we wish you the best of luck.
So, what do I do? Just discharge? Is that's what I'm doing?
Yes,
Oh, okay, cool, thank you.
you're welcome.
This hearing from Nelson.
Yeah. So what did I tell you? Insufferable. I mean, the guy, you can feel his rage. You can feel he has no control. He's getting write-ups in prison. I mean, he's like upset at the board and oh yeah, he has to get the last words. Oh, okay, yeah, okay. And he like steers them down. And man, to think that a judge still only gave him 5 years. Remember, this isn't like a first offense. He has a long record. I'll go through it soon with you. From what Richard shared, and it just goes on and on and on. And here's the one thing that sticks with me about this hearing is that it's his 2-year-old daughter. The paramedics are there, and he's not being honest with them. He's putting himself first before the life of his daughter. Now, you can give him credit for at least calling the cops. There are people that don't. But to not have your only focus at that time when the paramedics are trying to find out to say, yeah, she consumed XYZ, they need to know that. How do you not? How is your desire to stay out of jail stronger than the desire to make sure your daughter lives? It's just something that I don't think that's where the line is crossed. You want to say, well, people screw up, they make mistakes, their minds are red. But when it came push to shove and the paramedics are there trying everything they can, he doesn't know if they're going to save her life. They don't know what's going to happen. They need to know, what did she digest? Wow. And yeah, he's a dangerous man. I mean, I can, there aren't articles per se that I can read, but what we have is, I'll share with you. Okay, so he was incarcerated on 1/12/2022. And his state of sentence was 1/24/2023, which makes one think that maybe he was going to go to trial and He played that 1-year game with them. He got a plea deal. Now his maximum sentence is 5 years. Of course, he had his parole eligibility after just a couple years. And his full term date is 12/13/2026. I guess I can share with you this screen here, what Richard found on his record. And keep in mind, Connecticut only shares 10 years of records. So, what we have here is just that, 10 years. So you have a November 2014 arrest for larceny 6th, unconditional discharge. You have 5/13/2015 illegal operation of a motor vehicle, 90-day jail sentence. 5/13/2015 larceny 6th-degree sentence of 5 years in jail, execution suspended after 8 months, probation 5 years. So this is maybe the time served type of things. His probation was revoked for on this charge. And I don't know why they don't kick in these sentences, right? You would think if it's revoked and you're back in this time, why do they never serve that time? Why is it not being served consecutively? Sometimes prison is good for people. They need to mature. They need to grow out of themselves. It's not only about punishment. It is also about rehabilitation. 3/24/2015 criminal impersonation. What is that? Criminal impersonation. So I mean like impersonating a police officer, some type of illegal I don't know what that is. That's an interesting one. Arrested 3/24/2015 conspiracy to commit larceny. 6th, 90 days jail. Arrested 5/28/2015 larceny. 6th, unconditional discharge. Arrested 8/13/2015, another larceny. 6th. Arrested 6/27/2019. This is possession of cannabis. Wow. Half an ounce. They gave him a year in jail for that. Isn't that interesting? Okay. Arrested 3/16/2019. Assault 3rd degree. I get confused with the dates. How come there's, okay, but this is sentenced a year in jail. Then he didn't appear. I don't know. Then he arrested on 10/22/2018. Criminal mischief, 6 months jail, failure to appear. 8/9/2021 larceny 4th, unconditional discharge. 6/22/2021 larceny 4th. Berlin arrested 3/17/2022 risk of injury to a child. That's the one that finally gets him. Finally, it's like, who would have thought that someone was going to get harmed? Who would have thought that maybe we should do something instead of continually to let someone out. Again, imagine if you're a judge and you see these things all the time, and we're in the true crime community, right? We know effective judges, we know judges that are weak, and we see everything, right? We know how it's interesting when you come out to the parole hearings and you see all of these other, and it's like, it's just so predictable. Look at his criminal record. It's just every few months, arrest after arrest after arrest. Whatever your programs, whatever your probation, whatever your suspended sentencing, it's not working, and someone's going to get hurt. And whose fault is it when that happens? You can't say it's the criminal's fault. You can't, because they're. I mean, of course they have to. But you get what I'm saying, right? You get what I'm saying. Come on. Oh, my blood pressure is up from watching this guy. It's I mean, I was agitated when I turned it on, and it's just, oof, you want to throw something against the wall. I think the parole board handled it well. Look, they're no Miss Jackson, they're not a Miss Renatza. Louisiana would have had that thing under wraps instantly, and that's where I think the beautiful thing about watching parole hearings, again, I think you get to see the heartbeat of a state, and I love this. Every state, America is different, I think, than any other place in the world. You have each state has their own deep-rooted culture and personalities and accents and the way of doing things. It's so cool. And you see that, I think, most at these parole hearings, just how an inmate acts, what they expect from an inmate. Louisiana, you can have the hardest criminal and they're still polite. They're still saying, "Yes, ma'am. I understand, ma'am." I mean, in Connecticut, though, it's every other parole hearing. There's yelling, there's cursing, there's slouching. There's this, like, it's just a different culture. And I find it fascinating. Do you find it as fascinating as I do? And anyways, it was nice how they handled this one, though. I thought it was nice how they had each other's back. I was impressed with the board for once, and the way that overall they handled it, taking into account, I guess, how they typically do handle things. But there you go. And with that, I'll let you go.
I made those decisions. There's no mistake there. I know what I did, but I failed. The only thing I can do is, I don't want to argue, but I'm just trying to tell you that it's like being in a car accident. You don't know what's going on. I mean, this is going to be it for me. You know what I mean? That's how I look at it. I'm 100% at fault. I'm her father. And I was there. Besides a family member, sometimes you can't talk to your family about certain things.
Mr. Nelson, if you keep interrupting, we cannot ask the questions that we need to. No, stop.
However, that behavior that caused my child to be taken away from me and almost died,
Yes, ma'am.
you know, I sorely regret today, but I
I
didn't
said
hear
that.
any of that.
I said that
Okay.
I said that in the beginning. Can I read you want me to read the beginning over?